Nuts. Baizel, what am I thinking? Ethan Carver sat in the half-lit lab, his heart hammering in his chest. His fingers trembled as they brushed over the pages of very old manuscripts. The ink faded, but the secrets they held were sharp as daggers. These were not just the notes of George Washington Carver, his great-great-grandfather, an inventor and agricultural genius hailed as an American hero. No, these pages were about something much darker and sinister, something far more dangerous than any agricultural advancement Carver had ever made. The air around Ethan seemed to thicken as he scanned over the pages, his eyes jumping from one line to the next. Hidden within the notes, between observations on soil chemistry and crop rotations, there was an esoteric code, a coded message Ethan had never seen before, until now. A virus. The revelation hit him like a ton of bricks. Carver, the man revered as a genius, a savior of agriculture, had hidden a deadly weapon within the very crops he had made famous. A virus encoded within peanuts, designed to trigger a deadly allergic reaction in those who consumed it. A virus specifically targeting white people, that would reach its full peak in 120 years from the date he created it. Ethan's pulse quickened. This can't be real, he whispered to himself, running a hand through his disheveled hair. But the more he read, the clearer it became. His great-great-grandfather had embedded his anger into the very fabric of his work. The weight of it was unbearable. Carver had suffered under the crushing hatred of a world that rejected him, denied him his dignity as a human being, but he had channeled that suffering into something far more insidious, a weapon hidden for generations. And now Ethan, the great-great-grandson, stood on the precipice of a choice that would define his legacy forever. The decision tore at his soul. Should he expose the truth to the world and risk global chaos, or should he destroy the research, bury it forever, and keep the secret hidden in the past? With his mind reeling, Ethan pushed back from the desk. The chair creaked beneath him, and the gravity of the room seemed to press down on him. He needed guidance. He needed someone to help him untangle the emotional and moral labyrinth he found himself trapped in. Dr. Sarah Lewis, his friend and trusted mentor, was the only person who could help. A renowned virologist, Sarah had been his guide in the world of science, helping him in his career unlock the secrets to many viruses and diseases. If anyone could help him understand what this discovery meant, it was her. The sharp, disinfected scent of Sarah's lab hit Ethan as he stepped through the door. Her silhouette was bent over a microscope, her eyes narrowed in concentration, but when she saw him, her expression softened instantly, sensing something was terribly wrong. "What's going on, Ethan?" she asked, her voice low and concerned. His silence confirmed her worst fear. He handed her the manuscript without a word. She skimmed through it, her eyes widening as the reality of the situation set in. "Hold on, is this what I think it is?" Her voice barely rose above a whisper, disbelief lacing her words. Ethan nodded, his throat tight. "It's a virus, a weapon. Carver designed it to target white people who he predicted would be allergic to peanuts in the next 120 years. But it's more than that. It's revenge, a revenge for the slavery, for Jim Crow. He wanted to make sure they paid for what they did to him and all of our ancestors before him." Sarah closed her eyes, processing the enormity of the revelation. "Damn, how could we have missed this? How did we not see it?" Her voice trembled, thick with the fear of the discovery. "It wasn't in plain sight," Ethan replied, his voice shaking. "It was hidden, coded in his notes. I never understood it until now." She met his gaze, her expression grim. "You can't just ignore this, Ethan. This is a global threat." Ethan slumped into the chair across from her, his hands shaking as he gripped the armrests. "I don't know what to do. If I destroy it, it's gone. If I expose it, the world will fall apart. What's worse, the truth coming out and destroying everything, or burying it and letting Carver's anger stay hidden forever?" Sarah sat next to him, her voice steady but heavy with the magnitude of the choice. "Sometimes the hardest thing to do is the right thing. You are not responsible for Carver's past decisions, but you are responsible for what happens next." He looked at her, his mind spinning in circles. What if I make the wrong choice? What if I destroy it and it comes back to haunt me? "Focus on the move you're afraid to make," Sarah urged, her voice low but firm. "That's where the answer lies. It's your choice to make, Ethan." And just like that, the fog began to lift. Ethan understood. This wasn't just about the virus or Carver's anger, it was about him. For years, he had tried to live up to the image of the man everyone admired, trying to earn the recognition of those who had enslaved his ancestors. But now, for the first time, the power was in his hands. He could let the world define him, or he could take control of his destiny. Suddenly, the unmistakable sound of footsteps echoed from the hallway. They were here. Rivrak, a shadowy anarchist group, feared worldwide for its ruthless tactics and cyber attacks. They had been responsible for poisoning thousands of people by replacing medications in hospitals and launching infamous cyber assaults on the WHO. But their ambitions didn't stop at cyber warfare. They were after something bigger. They had been tracking Ethan for years, waiting for him to uncover this secret. The virus Carver's revenge is too valuable to lose, they'd whispered. We cannot let Ethan Carver destroy it. Now they were closing in on him. Ethan and Sarah had no time to lose. Every moment, every decision, carried unimaginable consequences. They needed to act fast. Days later, the two were tracked down in an abandoned warehouse. The final confrontation was about to unfold. The cold, metallic syringe in Ethan's right hand felt heavier with each passing second. He could feel the tension in the air, a feeling of inevitable dread settling in his bones. Behind him, Sarah's breath was shallow. Her eyes gazed nervously into the shadows. They're here, she whispered, her voice taut with fear. Ethan turned sharply, his heart thundering in his chest. From the darkened doorway, the leader of Rivrak emerged, a tall figure draped in black, his eyes glowing with malicious intent. Ethan Carver, the leader's voice boomed, deep and menacing, sending a chill down Ethan's spine. You don't understand the power you have. This virus is our future. It's now your legacy at stake. Ethan's grip tightened around the syringe, his knuckles white with tension. I'm not leaving this world to you, he spat, his voice trembling but filled with conviction. Carver's creation won't be your personal weapon for world domination. The Rivrak leader sneered, his voice dripping with contempt. You think you can stop us, destroy what's rightfully ours. Ethan's voice was icy now, the fear in his chest replaced by something stronger, determination. I can, he said, stepping forward. I won't let this virus bring more pain into the world. I'll end it, here and now. In an instant, the leader lunged at him, but Ethan was faster. With a swift motion, he pressed the syringe into the vial of trithylene glycol, sealing the virus's fate forever. The moment his finger pushed the plunger, everyone in the warehouse went silent. The virus was destroyed. Rivrak's plan was thwarted. The leader let out a roar of frustration, but before he could make another move, Sarah stepped forward, her face resolute. You've lost, she said, her voice firm. This ends now. Ethan turned to her, his breath ragged. I couldn't carry this any longer, he confessed, the burden of the past finally released. It wasn't my fight to finish. Sarah nodded, a faint smile playing on her lips. You made the right choice. Your legacy will be what you decide it will be from this day forward. As they walked out into the fading light, Ethan realized something profound. In confronting his deepest, darkest moment, he had found something unexpected, freedom. He had chosen his own path, leaving behind the tragic history and stepping into a future of his own making. Sometimes the world's past burdens aren't something you have to carry. Sometimes the best way out is to let go. And that was the only change that made all the difference.